I came home to my 9-year-old son playing with his toys, and I've never felt so crushed. My wife passed away while giving birth to our son, and so naturally this made our son and I very close. But the thing is, our son was born with Down syndrome. I'm ashamed to say it, but I really didn't know if I would be able to love him at first. I always said I wouldn't raise a disabled child, but then my son grew, and I saw that despite having Down syndrome, he is the sweetest, kindest, most loving bubbly ball of joy I have ever met in my life. He single-handedly gave me purpose in life, and he made me a better man. He's currently 9 years old, and every time he walks outside he smiles and waves at strangers, and whenever they wave back, he gets so excited about making a new friend. He adores animals, and whenever he sees a dog walking, I need to practically keep him on a leash so he doesn't sprint off and just start petting it non-stop. However, Down syndrome comes with a lot of drawbacks, the main one of course being his cognitive abilities. You see, ever since my son was young he was fascinated by Legos, so fascinated that he would watch YouTube videos on them. He'd learn about the sets, and he'd even watch the Star Wars movies just so he could know the Legos better. Whenever we were young he'd stand in the store aisles for so long, completely in awe at the Lego sets in front of him. I could truly never say no to him. And so when he was 5 years old I bought him his first Lego set. It was only small and very simple, and he should have been able to complete it. But when we took it home, we spent hours on the living room floor trying to get him to build a tiny Lego house, and he just couldn't do it. He was crying about it and calling himself stupid, and after maybe 3 hours of failure he smashed the Legos on the ground and hugged my legs tightly while crying. "Daddy, why am I stupid?" Those words broke my heart. Ever since that day, he's tried maybe 1,000 times to build that same simple little Lego set, and each time he's gotten closer and closer, until finally yesterday, he fully did it. It had been 4 years since I bought the set originally, and I remember leaving the house around noon to go grab us some lunch. I really didn't want to leave him alone for too long and so I was rushing, and because of that I forgot my wallet. I realized I had forgotten it about 5 minutes into the drive. I immediately turned back around, and when I got home another 5 minutes later I walked in the door, and saw my son on the ground playing with his Legos. It broke my heart seeing him build that set and fail every time, so it kinda made me sad. But then he turned around, "Come look Daddy." He sounded excited which made me very intrigued, and so I walked over, and right as I did I saw him placing the final piece onto the little house he was building. It was a perfectly built little house. He had stuck every piece of it together himself, and I just looked at it in awe. I looked back at him, and he was just smiling with that same smile that gives me purpose in life. "Do you like it?" he asked me, holding it up in his hands for me to see. "I love it, son," I said, hugging him. We embraced for so long, and after we pulled away, I ruffled his hair and told him that this was the coolest Lego house I had ever seen. He just smiled back and said he was going to build another one, and I went upstairs to cry. This single moment had made me so proud of my son, and if real men don't cry, then I'm not a real man, because I was bawling so hard my son even came up to check on me.